All right, hey, hi, howdy, sad boys, what is going on? GreysonTodd here. Canadian rockers, Pup, the band, and their new album, The Unraveling of Pup, the Band. First off, love the album cover, love the chaos, love how it's just like a massive clusterfuck just happening in your brain just all the time nonstop, and you can't help but just feed into it and can't help but just hear it all the time. And you get a sense that the band's exploring, like, how do you be punk? How do you be a band? How do you write clever, relevant songs that have angst and anger in an era when there is so much just horror? Something that they explored in their EP, This Place Sucks Ass. This chaos happening within the head and kind of that dumb, numb smiling happening beneath it is really representative of the emotional state that this band is trying to bring with the record. On the back of it, we see that the head has deflated even more, as if to say that the inevitable conclusion of all this stress and pain is to let it consume your very being. But we are not on Earth. This is from someone observing Earth, leading them to feel completely and utterly helpless and melted and burnt out. Pull out the slipcover. We have kind of this cool caution tape giving sense like danger, warning, critical failure. Then the actual vinyl I got is this pink with a black splooge, a black splotch. I like the splooges personally. I like that it's not like a neon pink. It's this kind of cool magenta pink packaging. Overall, love it. Give it a total jam it. Buy it for the artwork. Now, when it comes to talking about Pup the band, I sort of have conflicting feelings around them. Because in some senses, they are everything I want in a band. They're kind of angry, socially conscious, with ironic, sarcastic lyrics that play on fears of Satanism, plays on ideas of rock stars and rockdom and how to make music and the industry and how they feel trying to be a punk band in the modern era. They do a lot of really perfect things when they're firing on all cylinders. Their first release, 2013's Pup, is an incredibly good debut with some of my favorite songs. Dark Days, Reservoir, the Yukon Valley, that kind of aggressive energy without being too angry or violent is exactly what I was looking for in a punk band. I'm, however, disappointed with their follow-up, The Dream Is Over. It starts out incredibly strong with If This Tour Doesn't Kill You, Then I Will. But by the third or fourth song, I'm feeling disconnected. I've genuinely tried to give it several attempts, but for some reason, I just can't get that far in it. I like some of the songs when they come up separately and in isolation, but the pacing of the album just feels off, like there's a hollowness to it. I feel very similar to the Menzingers' second, or was that their third release, Chamberlain Waits. The album that came after it, one of my fucking favorite rock albums to ever be made, but that middle one just doesn't connect to me for whatever reason. And I think that's okay. I think music fans should admit when something from a band they love, a band that does connect to them fully, when it doesn't connect. With their follow-up, Morbid Stuff, every single track on that album is absolute perfection to me. Morbid Stuff, I dare say, may possibly be a damn near perfect album. It has so much clever, funny moments with hooks that just grip you on every fabric of your being, which is why it was disappointing again when This Place Sucks kind of sucks. It doesn't have the cleverness and it doesn't really have the production that made Morbid Stuff work for me. For whatever reason, the songs on that EP feel akin to The Dream Is Over. he has a very distinct kind of punk, hard edge vocal style of like Comeback Kid or Have Heart, a lot of those early 2000s post hardcore bands. But they tried giving it like a rock edge or a distortion that doesn't always work for me. It feels like they're burying his vocals underneath the music, and that creates a barrier that pushes me away. Which brings us to the Unraveling of PUPTHEBAND, an album that I bought, even though it seems like every other record is not for me. I still bought it because I like these guys as musicians and I want them to keep making the music. So I do get a morbid stuff every now and again, and the Unraveling of PUPTHEBAND seems to be struggling with that very concept within themselves. What is their role in being a punk band? Do they have a responsibility to be socially conscious and to always be pushing a message forward? But if you're always plugged in, if you're always consuming the news and the world around us, then you're kind of going to be miserable. You're kind of be trapped in this little bubble of just sadness, because the world is a lot of sadness. I can understand the pressure they're feeling going into this album.
Quarterly meetings, the board of directors.
This first song, you can already feel the unraveling. Whether or not this is actually describing the conceptual progression of this album. He said, I play piano. I started learning last Thursday. I spent every cent of the label money on this thing. You hear him playing piano. I hope that's Stefan playing it himself if he's making the bold claim that he learned. Feels akin to like a Jeff Rosenstock record. You're gonna be consuming this music on a level that isn't just the pure emotional joy and rush of listening to fast punk. They only listen to noise punk or nothing, and they haven't listened to any new music since college. He seems to be struggling with like trying to please a bunch of assholes who have never grown or changed or challenged their own musical perceptions themselves. I want to hear new music. I don't want to gatekeep the scene. I want it to grow and flourish, and I want new bands to always be evolving. But I'm also kind of weird for caring about it. Totally captures what PUPTHEBAND does best. They're an erratic, sporadic, noisy, grindy, difficult to listen to band with blaring guitars and distortion, but then they bring it together for the chorus. It's lifting in the instrumentation and in the vocals coming together to harmonize. Lately, I started to feel like I'm slowly dying, and if I'm being real, I don't even mind whether I'm at my worst or I'm totally fine. A numbness that comes when you're like, I could be great or I could be fucking terrible today and whatever. I'm apathetic to my own emotional state. This is a good song to get you into the record. They needed to pick it up directly after that first little intro, and Totally Fine gives you a hook and it gives you the heaviness, so you know that this band is not gonna be so up their own ass, and I think it's totally fine.
You were dead. Saw your corpse rolling out the door.
And then they switch it up again with Robot Writes a Love Song in the third track. It has kind of an electronic beat going to it about a robot writing a love song to another robot human. Is it a robot in love with a human, and that's why there's body? No, when you come back with your new body. It's sweet though, and I like the play on words. Oh, the first time I saw you, I confess, you nearly put me into cardiac arrest. It's way too much data to process. There's a genuine passion and a love that comes from it that makes the song very enjoyable and nice to listen to. It's just a nice track. I also enjoy their hatred for the song Black Hole Sun. It's not my favorite either. Soundgarden has a big variety, a big catalog of music. Kind of annoying that that's the one that got put on Guitar Hero. Guys, who made that choice? And it's by Matilda that I gotta say, this album is winning me over. It's a song from the perspective of his guitar, saying you don't even write the chord sound. I didn't really like this song until that chorus. That chorus hits in your head, and if you are an artist, you kind of feel guilty for not playing with your instruments. You feel guilty for not exploring your hobby, for not exploring your art. I know days that I don't have time to film, I don't have time to edit, or I don't have time to record music. I genuinely feel guilty for not doing the thing that I'm passionate about. It's also just a bonus that they're a competent enough band to create melodies, harmonies, and hooks that do grip onto you. And I find myself humming late into the night long after I've listened to the song. I'm feeling pretty fucking good with this record, and we're still on side one. Honestly, I wasn't that impressed with this record the first couple times I spun it. I could tell what parts I was gonna gravitate to, but listening to it now, looking at the lyrics, absorbing what they're trying to put off, I'm really finding respect for them. Fuck all the drag, it's endless, you can't kill it like you want it. That need, that urge to just like purge the negativity out of your life. I fucking feel it, man.
The board of directors are growing impatient.
Joke's on, interesting. So now democracy is over. Taking over as a dictator of Pup the Band. We're not tuning the vocals, goddammit. It's like they knew me. It's like Pup the Band knew that I don't like their fucking messy, distorted, but like very lightly distorted, crashing sound of their punky, heavy, messy shit. But then they hit you with that chorus that just comes at you like a fucking truck. It's either acoustic or they recorded sound of the guitar being played itself. There's just like such a twangy, strumming effect to it that gives it a really interesting sound in contrast to the very distorted guitar. Pup, you guys are all right. I enjoy cutting off the corners a little more than Habit. They both seem to be this slower, almost electronic-y sounding songs, trying to be moodier. I think Cutting Off the Corners is a little more successful, where Habit was just is a little too slow for me. I think I have to listen to it a few more times, but Cutting Off the Corners just has a little instantly catchier hook to it. I like the little guitar lead that they play over it, and the shaker in it is nice. It just feels like a very nice production, and getting a little more outside their comfort zone, getting outside of the norm, bringing in different elements into their music. His beliefs versus what he enacts, what he actually does, what he actually gives out to the world. And here we hear him talking about his part, his role in playing in the scheme of social justice and fighting for what you believe in, but also acknowledging the reality of your actions and how they actually affect the material well-being around you. Everything we do socially, it's designed to keep us at odds. It is grim reaping. We're reaping ourselves, either metaphorically reaping our souls, any form of that, from finding happiness, from finding community, and we divide and we obsess. Where there is once a flame in my chest, it's only an empty space where everything. He's so apathetic he couldn't even finish the song. Audibly, not my favorite. I get what he's speaking towards. The horn was a nice introduction. Has so far kind of been the biggest letdown.
Board of directors are almost finished this record.
board of directors are almost finished with the record. It's out of Pup's hands. It's up to them. And now we're gonna get the bankruptcy of Pup the Band. Is this the end of our dear hero? It feels like we have truly gotten the unraveling of Pup the Band. Send it to them, package it, give them a pretty vinyl, they'll fucking buy it. Like the unraveling of all things, like the destruction of all things, it's kind of hard to witness. It's hard to get through this breakdown of someone trying to just like figure out who they are and where they fit in the world. But there's a moment of clarity. And in that moment of clarity, he says that he's truly grateful for the life that he's led. There's no place he'd rather be. It's that struggle of being terrified and hating everything and not asking for life and not being asked to live through this place that we've created. There's also a feeling though that you're like, well, I'm glad that I am. There's things I enjoy. There's things that I feel were worthwhile. It may be the unraveling of the band. It may be the very end of Pup. They sold themselves to the sponsors. They sold themselves to the record label. And they're doing their fucking best to say something about it. This is a messy, disjointed, frantic, at times offbeat record that I don't enjoy until I fucking love it. And then it is some of my favorite stuff that they have ever written. It's definitely not connected to me as strongly as Morbid stuff was right off the bat, but I do think it is definitely 100% a total jam it from me. There's something on it for everyone, and there's moments that I think can touch anyone. So with that, those are my feelings on Pup the Band, my opinions only. What did you think? What do you feel about Pup? Tell me below. Thank you for watching. Stay super posy. I'm GreysonTodd. Check ya on the flip side of the record. Get it? On the flip, on the, goddamn, just fucking end it.